These are, in my opinion, the 10 darkest multiverse variants of Spider-Man. I'm excluding characters like Kane, Chasm, and Spider-Side that are from the main Marvel 616 continuity. These characters are all from alternate dimensions.
Number 10, Ghost Spider.
Okay, buckle up, this is a weird one. Meet the Amazing Spider, one of the only superheroes in this alternate universe. He single-handedly protected the world from Thanos, Galactus, and more. How does he do this? Well, it turns out he lures other Spider-Men from different universes to his version of the Batcave, which he calls the Web, kills them, and absorbs their powers. Spider-Man 616 ends up on this world and is brought to see Uncle Ben, who is still alive. He survived being shot by the Mugger and trained the Amazing Spider to be a hero. Only there's something off with this Uncle Ben. With great power, son, comes a responsibility to stay powerful. A shaky Aunt May gives Peter some tea, which ends up being drugged. When Peter awakens, he is strapped to a chair, about to be plugged into a machine and drained of his powers. Peter talks to the Amazing Spider, making him confront the horrible things he has done in pursuit of power. The two end up fighting, and in the middle of the fight, Uncle Ben runs at 616 Spider-Man to plug him into the machine, but the Amazing Spider, realizing what a horrible person he's become, pushes Spidey out of the way and gets plugged into the machine himself and dies. Believe it or not, this is where it starts to get weird. The Amazing Spider ends up in hell. His universe's Sorcerer Supreme, who just happens to be Bruce Banner by the way, brings him back as Ghost Spider, a combination of Spider-Man and Ghost Rider. Back among the living, Ghost Spider is determined to redeem himself.
Number 9, Darkhold Spider-Man.
This is a vision 616 Spider-Man is given by the Darkhold, an ancient magical book also known as the Book of Sins. So this isn't really an alternate universe, it's more of a twisted waking dream Spider-Man endures. But I'm including it anyways because I like this story and it's my list. In this dream, everything is unraveling apart, from buildings to people. Spider-Man is working around the clock to web everything together. Yes, even people. He's working around the clock because the webbing dissolves after 3 hours and everything needs to be webbed back together. The whole time he's desperately running around doing this, he's being messaged by Gwen Stacy, who is reminding him not to be late and not to forget the cider vinegar. One of the few heroes unaffected by this turmoil is Reed Richards, who shows Peter that he has successfully turned one of his fingers into a better form of web fluid, one that won't dissolve. He tells Peter that he could also do this with the Venom symbiote. Peter tracks down Venom, which reveals that his host, Eddie Brock, has died. The symbiote kept him alive as long as he could. Peter says that he's sorry and offers himself to the symbiote. The symbiote says no and dies with Eddie. Peter races back home to Gwen and finds her dead at the kitchen table. He was gone too long. Or maybe she's been dead this whole time, it's a little unclear. Peter goes back to Reed Richards and stabs him with a needle and turns him into web fluid. He uses the still alive Reed Richards web fluid to patch everything and everyone back together again.
Peter, please, it hurts. I know, Reed, but you have a responsibility to this city. Number 8, Spider's Shadow.
Spider's Shadow is all about what would have happened to Peter Parker if he kept wearing the Venom symbiote. In the main Marvel 616 continuity, Spidey gets this costume on an alien world during the Secret Wars storyline. It was making him a darker version of himself until he had it removed by the Fantastic Four once he found out that it was alive. But in this reality, Peter is attacked by the Hobgoblin on his way to have the suit analyzed by Reed Richards. He gives the Hobgoblin a brutal beatdown, unmasks him, and lets him go.
If you go to prison, you'll just be back out in no time like all the rest. So spread the word, Hobgoblin. Spider-Man is playing for keeps now.
At the Baxter Building, Reed Richards tells Peter that the costume is alive, but Peter decides to keep it anyway. He then goes to visit Aunt May, but the Hobgoblin is waiting for him. Suddenly, a pumpkin bomb explodes through the wall. Peter takes the fight outside, but when he looks back, May's house is on fire. He tries to run in and save her, but the symbiote, which is sensitive to fire, doesn't let him. Suddenly, the house explodes, and Aunt May is killed. Peter and the symbiote direct their rage to the Hobgoblin, who is limping away. And we see now that the symbiote is in control. Spider-Man kills the Hobgoblin and leaves him suspended in the street. The Kingpin, scared that Spidey is now killing, sends the Shocker and the Scorpion after him. Spidey kills both of them and throws their limbs at the feet of the Kingpin before brutally attacking him. Then J. Jonah Jameson, seeing Spider-Man act as the menace he always thought he was, lures Spidey out to a remote location where he, in a Spider Slayer outfit, lies in wait with other villains to defeat Spidey. Spidey gets the drop on them and kills Mysterio, Electro, and Rhino before Jonah grabs him and holds him up to a building that's on fire. The symbiote's weakness is fire, so it leaves Peter's body, and J. Jonah Jameson, seeing that it's Peter Parker, drives him back home to New York. Unfortunately, the symbiote hitches a ride on the back of his van and goes to the Baxter Building, the home of the Fantastic Four, and takes control of Mr. Fantastic and the Thing and starts making more symbiotes. Peter, now seeing clearly since his mind isn't being corrupted by the symbiote, comes to terms with what he's done and has a heart-to-heart with MJ before heading to the Baxter Building. Peter runs inside and the Human Torch follows him. A long, drawn-out battle takes place. They end up using an image inducer to make the Human Torch look like Peter Parker and have Torch Peter tell the symbiote that he wants to bond with it again. Unfortunately, the symbiote kills Reed Richards when he leaves its body. Right when it's about to bond with the Human Torch, he flames on and incinerates it. The story ends with Sue Storm offering a remorseful Peter a spot on their team as a member of the Fantastic Four, and a severely injured but still alive Kingpin about to bond with the Carnage symbiote so he can get his revenge.
Number 7. Peter Parker, the Punisher.
Similar to the 616 Spider-Man, Peter was bitten by a radioactive spider, this time one with a skull on its back, and became a wrestler. He designed a costume that took inspiration from the spider that bit him. One day he fails to stop a robber who goes on to murder his Uncle Ben. In this universe though, when Peter catches the robber, he shoots him with his own gun. For a while after this, Peter would catch criminals and hand them over to the police. However, Peter gets fed up with his enemies escaping all the time and installs weaponry into his suit to put them down permanently. While Peter Parker falls in love with Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man keeps fighting the one enemy he can't seem to kill: the Green Goblin. He has the opportunity to kill Norman at one point, but he is suffering from amnesia and is no longer a threat, so he can't bring himself to do it. Norman's Goblin persona comes back and he kidnaps Gwen Stacy, bringing her to the top of the Brooklyn Bridge. In the 616 universe, this is how Gwen Stacy dies. But in this universe, Peter shoots him with a bullet designed to pierce his armor. The Green Goblin still drops her, but Peter's able to save Gwen by webbing her leg and swinging her to safety. At first she isn't breathing, but he gives her CPR and she comes back. Peter then comes clean with Gwen in the hospital and tells her everything. He throws his Punisher outfit in the trash. He is leaving that life behind. The story ends with Frank Castle's family being murdered in a park, similar to his 616 counterpart. As he stumbles, injured in an alleyway, he crashes into the trash can that was containing the Punisher costume.
Number 6. Assassin Spider-Man.
This What If story is a follow-up to the classic 1987 Spider-Man vs. Wolverine comic. In the original comic, Wolverine is trying to track down an old flame of his, an ex-KGB agent who is being hunted by the KGB named Charlie. Charlie wants a quick death as she knows she will never outrun the KGB. Wolverine is about to give that to her when Spider-Man intervenes. Spidey and Wolverine have a brutal fight, during which Charlie tricks a disoriented Spidey into punching her full force, and basically commits suicide via a spider punch. This naturally messed Peter up for a while. Now in this What If story, which is set just after this, Wolverine approaches Peter with an opportunity to save Charlie's sister. The two butt heads throughout the mission as Wolverine has no qualms about killing people. During the battle, Peter accidentally kills the villain, the Crimson Dynamo, but he and Wolverine are successful in saving Charlie's sister, Alex. Peter then developed a new costume and trained with Wolverine while they protected Alex from the KGB. Eventually, Peter falls in love with Alex and his moral code starts slipping as Wolverine continually murders the KGB members coming after Alex. The group then went on the offense, attacking those who wanted to kill Alex before they got a chance. Spidey enhances all his abilities through training with Wolverine, including his spider senses, to the point where he just knows things and has some precognition powers. The trio are once again ambushed and Wolverine is thrown off when Spidey has no quips, nothing clever to say. This is because something in Spidey has snapped and he intentionally kills someone for the first time. And on that day, Assassin Spider-Man was born. A Black Ops Spidey not afraid to kill people, working with Wolverine to make the world a safer place.
Number 5. Spider-Norman.
What if Norman Osborn, not Peter Parker, was bitten by the radioactive spider? Well, you would get Spider-Norman. We don't know much about his history. The story picks up after Peter Parker's death. Peter had been working for Norman, attempting to thwart his evil designs from within his own company. Before he died, presumably at the hands of Norman, Peter sent Norman's son Harry a note telling Harry that Norman needed to be stopped, and left a special goblin costume for him. Harry confronts his father, who is trying to harness the power of a cosmic cube that would help him tap into the multiverse. The two battle, but Spider-Norman wins the fight, killing his own son. Right before he draws his final breath, Harry shoots the cube, trying to destroy it, and inadvertently gives Norman exactly what he was looking for: the web of life and destiny. Well, until Spider-Punk appears and pulls Spider-Norman into a portal. You see, Spider-Punk was looking for people to help him fight the Inheritors, an evil family that feeds on people with spider powers. Norman joins the group for a while, but is constantly butting heads with the superior Spider-Man. He ends up leaving the group to find his own way of stopping the Inheritors with the character Spidersman. Spidersman is a Spider-Man made of thousands of spiders that was this close to making this list. Spider-Norman actually just died in the most recent Spider-Verse series. To make a long story short, two mind-controlled spider variants, one of which happens to be a T-Rex, followed Norman back to his home planet. Norman sends Spider-Man out to slow them down, and he pretty much dies immediately. This gives Norman just enough time to send what they were after, a piece of the web of life and destiny, to another reality. To keep himself from becoming mind-controlled and revealing where he sent it, he blows himself up. So I suppose he sort of redeems himself in the end.
Number 4. The Spider.
The Spider first appeared in Exiles number 12. This Peter Parker has bonded with the Carnage symbiote and is a mass murderer who is sentenced to 67 consecutive life sentences. We don't get a lot of time with this character, but from what we do see, he is just downright despicable. He was part of a group of time-traveling multiverse characters calling themselves Weapon X and joined with Hyperion, whose goal was to conquer multiple realities. This is one of the few dark versions of Spidey that doesn't lose his humor, and honestly, he's way more scary because of that. Oops, did that go through your heart? My bad. He gets flame roasted to death by Firestar in issue 44, which is a good thing.
Number 3. Poison.
This spider variant has the same history as the 616 Spider-Man up to a point. In the 616, Peter was in the hospital, unconscious and clinging to life after a fight with Morlun. Morlun straight up eats Peter's eyeball in the fight. It's intense. Morlun comes to finish Spidey off in the hospital and snaps Mary Jane's wrist. Something in Peter then awakens, but not the man, the spider. The spider attacks and grows a bone stinger, killing Morlun before dying in Mary Jane's arms. Later, something would crawl out of Peter's corpse and web itself up in a cocoon. Peter has a dream about a spider, which he embraces, and then he emerges out of the cocoon healed and whole once more. Except in this reality, Peter decides to kill the spider, and remains in the cocoon until the Venom symbiote finds him. The symbiote leaves its host, who at the time was Mac Gargan the Scorpion, and enters the cocoon where it battles Peter for control. Peter fights it for months, until finally he emerges fully controlled by the symbiote. He makes his way to the Avengers Tower where Aunt May and MJ lived at the time and smashes through a window. He's there to share his blessing and make them into symbiotes. After MJ calls him Venom, he responds,
Venom? Venom was a hopeless loser. Venom didn't realize his full potential. Venom was a sad, lonely creature. I'm so much more now. But if you can't find it in your heart to call me Peter, then how about Poison?
Suddenly, Wolverine and Luke Cage come in. A fight ensues and Poison is able to stab through Luke Cage's bulletproof skin with his stinger. Mary Jane stops the fight, agreeing to go with Poison if no one else gets hurt, but she's going to make his life a living hell and fight as hard as she can. Poison considers this for a second, and in a flash of lightning, he's gone. Poison then digs up Gwen Stacy, and soon we see her start to emerge from a cocoon.
Number 2. Patton Parnell.
Patton Parnell is a dark version of Peter Parker that lived with his abusive Uncle Ted and spied on his next-door neighbor, Sarah Jane. Patton gets bitten by a radioactive spider and starts slowly transforming into a spider, starting with webbed fingers. After the spider bite, he can't keep down any regular food and has a hankering for blood. He ends up eating a rat, then a cat, Then more animals. He keeps getting stronger and gains the ability to shoot webs. One day, Uncle Ted comes home to find Patton waiting for him.
It's dinner, Uncle Ted, and if you've taught me anything, it's that with great power comes a great appetite.
Patton does some research and discovers that the spider that bit him transfers their eggs through their spider bite. Later, Sarah Jane comes over, asking if Patton knows where a missing kid from school is, and Patton kisses her and then bites her neck.
Listen, Patton, I know you like Sarah Jane, but you're coming on a little strong here, bud.
Sarah Jane tries to run and Patton turns full spider monster and chases after her. She enters Patton's bedroom and finds his uncle tied to the bed and the missing kid from school hanging from the ceiling. Patton must have bitten his Uncle Ted as well, as thousands of spiders start pouring out of him. Suddenly, the multiverse villain Morlun appears and kills Patton, consuming him. Sarah May runs out of the house, but when she gets home, spiders start spilling out of her.
Number 1. Zombie Spider-Man.
This Peter Parker is from a world similar to the main Marvel universe, only, well, everyone gets turned into zombies. Peter comes home after being bitten by his universe's Steve Rogers. He came home to warn MJ and Aunt May. It's bad out there. The Avengers are eating people. They need to leave New York immediately, only Peter's not feeling so hot. Suddenly he can't resist the hunger and he launches himself at Mary Jane. As he's eating Mary Jane, he tells Aunt May to lock herself in the bathroom and that he can't control himself. Unfortunately, this wouldn't be enough. He would still get to Aunt May.
What's cool and terrifying about the Marvel zombies is that they retain their intelligence. Spidey is fully aware of the horrible things he's doing, but he's unable to stop himself.
Some of the Marvel zombies, including Spidey, would get a piece of the power cosmic after feeding on the Silver Surfer after the Hulk killed him. They then eat Galactus, giving them the power to consume worlds. And then they spend 40 years going around space and eating planets. After running out of things to eat for a few weeks, Peter realizes that the hunger is beginning to fade. This doesn't stop Spidey from devouring all the Sinister Six when he gets transported to a new uninfected planet, starting a brand new zombie outbreak and unintentionally killing this world's Mary Jane. He's so upset with himself that he rips his own skin off and leaves it in a dumpster, mirroring the classic Amazing Spider-Man 50 panel. Eventually, Spidey puts together a team of zombies that want the death and destruction to end that fight the other zombie heroes. Spidey unleashes a canister containing Sandman on everyone. Sandman distributes nanites designed by Tony Stark to attack decaying flesh, killing all the zombies, including himself. Peter's last words are to thank the Sandman for helping him avenge Mary Jane and Aunt May.
If you enjoyed this, subscribe and check out this video. I think you'd really dig it. Thank you for watching, you friggin' nerd.